All right, what's up, Texans fans? Are you breathing a little easier now that you just destroyed the Cowboys? Are you breathing just a little bit easier? Hey, we've talked about it. We've covered the Texans on this channel for over a year, and one of the things we always say when we do the Texans, we always talk about how we like teams that are smaller market or that the NFL, the national media seems to kind of overlook or ignore. We're Lions fans. That's kind of why we have a heart for that, a big time, because that's what we felt we've always been. And so we always say you're never going to see us do a Cowboys video on this channel. And I guess I kind of lied because we're talking about the Cowboys here, but it's 100% a Texans video. Are you feeling good? And I'm here to tell you why the win was even better than you thought. And usually I start something with a question. Maybe it's favorite Texans, something like that. Who's your most hated Cowboy? All right. I don't want to get the hate going. This channel's about positive stuff, but hey, who don't you like for the Dallas Cowboys? Most hated player in the NFL. Maybe he's not even a Cowboy, right? Maybe he's a Colt or something like that. But who don't you like? But here's why this was even better. There's a couple of things that I was looking at. Just want to get into it, whether it's talking about your offensive line, whether it's talking about CJ Stroud, or quite frankly, someone on your defensive line that's maybe not getting all the love that they deserve right now. So the first one is talking about pressure rate on CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud was pressured on 14 of his dropbacks, 36.8% per NGS. They're also a little generous with pressures by virtue of player tracking data, so probably a little less than that. Overall, solid day for the offensive line. The offensive line, after playing against the Lions, the thought process was that this offensive line in its new with a couple players switched around on the interior and stuff like that, it was okay. They did not allow as much pressure to the quarterback as they previously had all year. CJ Stroud has been under attack seemingly all year. They couldn't get the protections right. The line couldn't get right. But with that, they didn't run the ball as well against the Lions. Well, in this game against the Cowboys, the offensive line still held up to the pass rush pressure, but they also ran the ball really, really well. And that's a big deal. So CJ Stroud threw the ball 34 times, so it's not like he didn't throw it often, and he only took one sack. You can see it here. But Joe Mixon and the running game, 25 carries in the running game for 141. Both were efficient. Both had time. And that's the big deal. The offense got moving in a better way. Don't get me wrong. They still left points on the board at times. It wasn't perfect, but you started to see glimpses. You started to see signs of what this offense was before, before this year. What this offense was last year. You started to see signs of it. And I also want to say, I understand it's not translating to a ton of points right now. You're 7-4. We're going to look at your schedule here in a little bit, and we're going to talk about how that 7-4 is even better than you would think. But if you looked at on Twitter here, Houston Texans posted this. The NFL, after week 11, came out with its top 5 passing yards, top 5 players in terms of passing yards on the year. So this second year slump for CJ Stroud is resulting in him having the 5th most passing yards in the NFL. Even though the Texans are not clicking, even though he is under consistent pressure, he is the number 5 in passing yards in the NFL. Now, the question is, what is he doing with that efficiency? Sometimes these things just take a minute to level out, right? That's how it works. That's just how it works sometimes. And I just need it to be known every once in a while that, all right, it's not as bad as you might think. All right. And when it comes to yards per attempt, when you're looking at players who are actually throwing the ball often, he's getting 7.2 yards per attempt. All right. When you look at the other players who are in the lead when it comes to passing, right? It's a little bit lower, but not crazy. Joe Burrow, 7.4. Lamar, just different worldly. 7.8 for Kirk, 7.4 for Geno, 7.2. Right? Stafford 7-3, 7-5, 7-3, 6-4 for Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, that's funny. It just makes me laugh. All right? Completion percentage. All right? He's sitting here at 63.4. Not as great. The way touchdown interception ratio, not as great. But he's still slinging the ball around. He's still slinging it. So I don't want to have this belief that like, oh, he's not getting the job done. It's still not that bad. Now, on the other side, one of the takeaways is that I will say the Cowboys had a lot of time to throw the ball, it seemed like, at time. And by the end of the game, the numbers were off, right? Like you had a big lead, so it was one of those things. But early in this contest, it was kind of shocking to see how often Cooper Rush had time to throw, right? Now, Will Anderson Jr., when he gets back, will he help that immensely? Absolutely. Yes, he will. All right? And you played a lot of coverage, all right? Barnett did good. All right, Denil Hunter did good. And I want to talk about Denil Hunter for a second. What are your thoughts on him so far? Like, how are you feeling about Denil Hunter? Denil Hunter, this is crazy. I was looking on PFF pass rush grades, and I'll let you see this. All right, Denil Hunter comes in at number 17. All right, here's the thing about Denil Hunter. When you look at when you look at pressures, this column right here is total pressures. All right, not a lot of guys are getting more pressures. I know you see Jonathan Greenard here with 3 more. Sorry. All right, I get it. But his pressure rate is 17.8%. All right, Jared Verse is and Yaya Diaby are the only ones that are higher than him really in this area. Everything he's doing, the total pressures, things like that, is really, really impressive. And the 8 sacks speak to that, at least according to PFF. They count even half sacks as whole sacks. So that's one of those things. This team has yet to click on all cylinders, and here they are going into week 12. They have a bye week coming up in 2 weeks, but I'm going to make the argument that the next 3 weeks are almost bye weeks. All right? They are not clicking on all cylinders. Things are timing up perfectly for them. Check out this at the back end. All right? So you get Tennessee not going well there. Jacksonville, absolute dumpster fire. All right? Then you get a bye week. And coming out of that bye week, you get a nice little test with Miami at home. You get a bye week. You get some home cooking against the Miami Dolphins. And then it's like, can you get fully right with these 3 games? Think about this. Dallas, Tennessee, Jacksonville, not good teams. Then you get a bye week. You have a nice little test against Miami, and then you got the big boys. And that tells you how ready are you for the playoffs. You got KC. You go to Kansas City. You get to go play in Kansas City. Cold weather, right, in December. Then you go, like, really weird timed games. Saturday game, then Wednesday game. It's like Sunday, Wednesday game? Like it's Christmas Day against Baltimore, the team that beat you in the playoffs. This is when you get to show how you do it. Now, unfortunately, this game is on Netflix against Baltimore, so hopefully you can see it without buffering, right? Anybody watch the fight? And then you go Tennessee. So even if you were to lose these 2 games, you're finishing 11-6, and I think you get one of these 2, and that just brings you even more confidence heading into the playoffs. You have time to get right. The division you play in, the schedule that you have, has allowed you to just worry about getting better and not just constantly worrying about if you're winning or not. All right. Thanks for watching. Love covering the Texans. And hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Hit that subscribe button. Why not? See you.